the late 500s, a holy man was sent from Rome to help save the English. He was called Augustine, and his mission was a roaring success. He converted the pagan king to Christianity and founded Canterbury Cathedral. He died on this day in the year 604. And this morning, a millennium and a half later, the papers carry a story about Augustine's successor, Justin Welby, the 105th Archbishop of Canterbury, whose unhappy job it is to manage the decline of an institution once famously known as the Conservative Party at prayer. How hollow that joke now rings, at least if you're Boris Johnson. In a tweet republished in the papers today, Archbishop Welby wrote, "Sue Gray's report shows that culture, behaviour and standards in public life really matter. We need to be able to trust our national institutions." This is the same Justin Welby whose church recently stopped my GBNews colleague Calvin Robinson from becoming a priest. Calvin's heresy, as many of you will know, is that he won't kneel down before BLM, doesn't believe in the creed of identity politics, and as a black man, refuses to accept that being born white is somehow a sin. In Mark's Gospel, Jesus is reported to have said that we should render unto God what is due to God and give to Caesar what is due to Caesar. As with many biblical quotations, someone somewhere right now is arguing about precisely what that means, but it's often cited by those who think the church should keep its nose out of politics. Well, Welby obviously reads it differently, and if he wades into politics, a notoriously rough trade, he can't expect people to play nice with him, so we won't. In his tweet, Welby says we need to be able to trust our national institutions, so then a question. If you're one of the 850,000 Anglicans who goes to church every week, do you trust your boss? Some pictures. We start in Kent, where Augustine arrived in the 500s. What would Augustine have made of Rochester Cathedral installing, well, you know what's coming, don't you? A crazy golf course in its nave. You obviously have to try to do something when congregations are dwindling, but really, the crazy golf came in 2019, just before COVID struck, and the Church of England's response to coronavirus was arguably crazier still. Churches were closed over Easter, and the Archbishop took a 3-month-long spiritual sabbatical. Nobody should have to die for their faith, but was it really necessary for the Archbishop to go along quite so compliantly with lockdown? Of course, the truth is that Welby exemplifies the ideological capture of what we once called the establishment. He epitomises a Brahmin caste which routinely and gratuitously ignores the values of ordinary folk, or what the Church would call the laity. No longer is the Church of England the Conservative Party at prayer. It's not even the Green Party at prayer, though the Anglican I interviewed a few years ago, who'd avoided having children to save the planet, suggested otherwise. And it was Welby who had to apologise at COP26 for saying climate change was like the Holocaust, but worse. No, the Church of England is a holy joke. It's fallen to what another Italian, not Augustine, but Antonio, the Marxist philosopher Antonio Gramsci, called the slow march through the institutions. So I'll end with another picture and some words from someone who puts it rather better than I could. Well, the photograph, it's of Amiens Cathedral in World War I, defended at the time by British soldiers, and with sandbags, not crazy golf, in the nave, to protect a congregation so devout that not even German bombs could stop communion. And the words from Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold, who wrote them not far from where Augustine landed to claim the English for Christianity. The Victorian poet lamented the retreat of religion and likened it to the sea with its melancholy, long, withdrawing roar. Of course, the bit that people really remember from the poem is how it ends with a terrible warning of a world without faith, which hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain, and we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. That's the Brazier angle.